Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Jalil Watson, and this is the Nest at Night podcast. This past Sunday, the Lady Owls and Kate Lynch went up to Waltham, Mass. to go ahead and play the Bentley Falcons in the NE10 Conference Championship game. And man, when I tell you it was a game of games, it was a game of games. It was simply just that. I mean, the Lady Owls did not disappoint, winning the NE10 Conference Championship and clinching the number one seed in the Eastern region. Not only did they do that, they also got an automatic bid into the NCAA Tournament. And I would say that I'm surprised, but as you can tell from the last episode, your boy got it right. I mean, everything that we talked about that the Lady Owls needed to go into this game and do, they absolutely did that, and we were able to come up victorious. This wasn't the Owl team that the Falcons seen at the beginning of January. No, it was a team that they saw at the end of January. And this game pretty much played out the exact same way for the most part. Two of the best teams in the conference with two of the best defenses in the conference, playing very hard defense and scoring points exactly when they needed to. Both teams started the game off hot. Southern scoring 19 points and Bentley scoring 22. It was clear to see that we were in for an all-time classic conference championship game. And although we were down and trailing by 3 points, we had the better first quarter. I mean, we shot 60% to Bentley's 44. So clearly, we still were playing that good defense while shooting efficiently and being able to get to the basket and find ways to score. And that's what I mean by this isn't the same team that Bentley saw at the beginning of January. It didn't take them the first quarter to get settled in. No, you could tell that this team came in here on a mission and they weren't leaving Massachusetts without completing the mission. And that's really the story of this first quarter. Playing defense, taking shots when we need to, not when we want to, and taking the best shot available. And making sure that we're taking away shots from Bentley and their scorers. Because Bentley's a good team. We're not going to sit here and act like they're not. But we just played to our strengths and to their weaknesses. And they did the exact same, and that's what kept this first quarter so close. Early in the first quarter, Tish Blackwood ended up catching 2 fouls. So Kate Lynch, like any other coach would do, took her out the game in this big-time moment. And that gave Bentley opportunities because their front court is pretty big. I mean, they have 2 6'2" forwards down there. And our front court is but so big. But even though with Tish Blackwood being out of the game, being that gritty post play that we need, Ariana Gherkin is somebody who stepped up to the occasion when her name was called in a big-time moment, and she was able to make some big-time plays throughout the first and the second quarter, and some of the third as well. And it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but she was a big help during Tish's absence, right? She was able to get in lanes, she was able to play pesky defense, and cause a lot of turnovers for the Owls that we desperately needed. And the same style of play that the Owls played in the first quarter, they played in the second. Stifling defense, getting in the passing lanes, getting some steals, and doing with what we could with our opportunities when going to the basket. I mean, we held Bentley down to 2 for 14 from the field and 0 for 3 from the three, at a whopping 14% in total. Not only that, but we also went on a 9-1 run in the second quarter before Bentley even started to get any type of points. I mean, Ali Sentes was doing her thing this quarter as well. You know, they scouted her to shoot threes from the last game in the semifinal game, but this time around, she would go to the three-point line, she'll fake the three, and drive to the basket and get her a couple points in the paint, which was so key because now we're not doing what they scouted for, right? Certain players that they thought were going to do certain things aren't doing those certain things, and it's creating more space on the court as well as giving us more opportunities to score in many different ways. And looking back at this game and the game at the end of January, you start to see a trend with Bentley, right? When they start to trail, they're a team that's known for shooting. But sometimes being known for shooting is not all that great because you start to shoot yourself out of games. And that's exactly what started to happen here. They shot themselves out of the second quarter. And it wasn't necessarily them shooting threes. They were going into the paint. We were just playing good defense and we were just making them miss shots. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. Ariana Gherkin, Tish Blackwood, Jillian Martin, Hope Fox, Ali Sentence. They were all playing great defense throughout this entire game, whether it was on the perimeter, whether it was inside. It didn't really matter where they were at. We were getting in the lanes, we were stopping them, we were getting in front of people, and we were putting our hands up, and we were playing hard-nosed defense. And that's what propelled the Owls to continuously go hard in this quarter and throughout the game. Because even though Taya and Reina, they didn't really get going in this game, they also played good defense. Granted, later in the game, Taya fouled out, but that was at the end of the game, though. And this is what I'm talking about. It's a lot of stuff that's not going to show up on the stat sheet that helped the Owls win on Sunday. And defense was the biggest part of that. Coming out of halftime, the Owls were leading 32-28, which was a 4-point lead over Bentley. And you would think at this point, it looked like it was all Southern, but things started to take a drastic turn early in the third quarter, and Bentley came out guns blazing. Now, like we said, it didn't get too out of control because they only made 4 from the 11 shots that they took. But where it gets bad is the fact that we only made 3 of the 14 shots that we took. So this is where we start to see Southern fall into this rabbit hole of how they were playing last season, where they were shooting insufficiently within their games. And Bentley took clear advantage of this as they were making more shots than we were and just kept the momentum going throughout the third quarter. And what I really think it was, I feel like, Bentley has this trend, right? They come out in the first quarter, they come out hot. And in the second quarter, it's not as hot. They might even fall off a little bit. They get a little break at halftime and come into the third quarter on fire again, replenished and just ready to go. And this is where we see Southern start to look like the team at the beginning of January, right? They come out at halftime, they're flustered, we're overthinking things that we weren't overthinking in the first half, and that's where the game started to get away from us. There was even a point, I don't remember if it was at the end of the third quarter or at the beginning of the fourth quarter or midway through the third quarter, that Jill, a veteran player, she's coming up the court and picks up the ball and puts it back down and double dribbles. And we never see Jill do that. So when that happened, you could tell that emotions were high in the arena and we just needed to settle down and find our rhythm again. And going into that fourth quarter, that's exactly what happened. It's like the team we saw in the third quarter became the team that we've seen in the first two, and the team from Bentley that we've seen in the third quarter turned into the team that we just seen in the second one, where they were just missing shots, couldn't get nothing going on offense. And that's a testament to the defense that Kate Lynch and her Owls were playing on Sunday. They were playing stifling, run to the ball, get in the lane defense, and that helped them propel into the fourth quarter. Because this is truly where Southern started to run away with the game. And we started out hot with Hope Fox, making one of the most athletic buckets we might ever see this entire season of Division II basketball. She drives to the lane, hits a spin move, and lays it up on 2 to 3 Bentley defenders in the paint to give the Owls the go-ahead bucket to go with the lead. And that's what truly started to get this game going in the fourth quarter for the Owls, because after that, everything just started falling into place. Tish Blackwood comes up the court. She makes a good little post move. She gets a bucket for the Owls. A couple plays later, Taylor Steinhauer, she comes up the court. She drains a 3. And then guess who matches that 3 a couple plays later? Nobody else other than Jill Martin. And everything just started to fall into place, and Bentley just couldn't find their rhythm in this fourth quarter. And the Owls started to dominate. And you could feel the energy in the entire arena switching over to the Owls side. You could see the Bentley fans slowly starting to walk out. You could feel the energy on their bench dying down. And even they started to believe that the Owls was going to win this game. And it just came down to the last 2 minutes of Bentley just trying to foul and get back into the game. But Jill Martin just kept going to the line, making her free throws. And by the time it hit 000, the Owls were the new NE10 champions and finally defeated the Giant in the Bentley Falcons and C. White. And I'll be honest, I was screaming to the top of my lungs watching this game, and I was at work. I'm delivering packages for Amazon, and I'm screaming SCSU in the street. And all the people are looking at me like I'm crazy, but they don't understand because they're not an Owl. They haven't sat here and been covering these girls for the past 2 years, and I was just finally happy to see Kate Lynch get over that hump, to sit there and beat the team that knocked her out of the 2024 championship game, to sit there and watch her beat the team that knocked them out of the semifinals game last year. It felt like an accomplishment for the entire Southern community. So to Kate Lynch and the rest of the Owl squad, congratulations. You ladies deserved it, but now it's on to bigger and better things. With this win, we host the regional conference bracket of the NCAA Division II Tournament, and we punched our ticket with an automatic bid as the number 1 seed coming out of the East. So we'll see you guys on Friday night when the Owls take on St. Michael's College right here in James Moore Fieldhouse. And always remember, go Owls and SCSU!